today we will... Radhe Radhe, good morning, good evening again, everyone. Very warm welcome to today's edition of Daily Wisdom from Bhagavad Gita. We've been discussing Karam Yoga, and today we will pick up the fourth principle that we have not yet touched upon. So we'll do a brief recap and then get really deep into the discussion of that fourth principle or the tenet of Karam Yoga, the topic that we have been discussing for the last 1 week. So let's get started by invoking the blessings of God and Guru, and then we will get started with today's topic. Again, a very warm welcome to all of you. I'm going to share my screen and we'll get started. Hope you're able to see my screen. All right, so let's get started with our opening prayers. You all can recite it at your place. Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsa Chanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. All right, Radhe Radhe, morning, good evening again, everyone. So let's get started. We have some stuff to cover today, and we have a presentation coming up as well, and we have a hard stop at 10. So we will cover the content a little quickly because we have to do a little bit of recap as well, just so that you do get into, build that mental map of where we are and what we have covered till this point with regards to this particular shloka. Very, very super important shloka, like all the shlokas in Bhagavad Gita. So I'm going to recite it and then we'll get started. Karmanyavadhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana ma karma phalheturvhu ma te sangostva karmani. All right, maybe we can pick up 2 hands, not more than that today, because we have quite some content to cover. So quickly we can do that. 3 hands, okay. Top 3, that's it. Sorry about that. I will pick up 3, whichever are co-hosts.
Uday Kumar ji, Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe, Uday.
Yeah, Radhe Radhe. Karmanyevadhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana ma karma phalaheturbhur ma te sangotsva karmani. Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe. 2 more hands we'll take and then we'll get started.
Ayush ji, Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe.
Karmanyevadhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana ma karma phalheturbhur ma te sangostva karmani.
Wonderful, very nice. 1 more, last but not the least, whichever Shyamji picks up.
Camera on, will be preference. So both the cameras are off, so I will have to pick one. Priya ji, Radhe Radhe.
You're the lucky one.
Radhe Radhe. I just took a chance. Okay, last moment. Okay. Karmanyevadhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana ma karma phalheturbhur te sango sattva karmani.
Very nice. Thank you, Priyachi. So let's get started. Sorry about that. For the remaining hands, you can get reference in the next one. Let's get started. Like I said, we have a hard stop, so we'll try to cover the content real quick because we have a presentation as well. So Lord Krishna is telling Arjun that you have a right to perform your prescribed duties, but you are not entitled to the fruits of your actions. Never consider yourself to be the cause of your activities, nor be attached to inaction. So let's do a quick recap what we have been discussing. Why Karam Yoga? We said this has to be a good business case for that, right? We need to realize our true potential. That is one of the biggest reasons. And there is there is absolutely no other way other than this principle that Lord Krishna is talking about to be able to realize our true potential. Okay, that's what we have been discussing. We want to get better at managing relationships. We all know that. Nobody would say that I'm okay the way things are. We definitely want to navigate those much more effectively, efficiently, and with a peace of mind. Right? We want to lead a, basically a life. Give me a sec. I'm just having some trouble with my screen right now. Just give me a sec. Sorry about that. It's freezing for me. Should get this resolved. Are you able to see my screen? No issues for you, technically?
Yeah, it's clear. Yeah, you can see that.
Okay, give me a sec. I'll just have to stop share for a bit and restart it. Yeah, now. Okay, give me a sec. Now, let me share it again. It's just hanging for me for some reason. Sorry about that. Okay, I'll share it again. Sorry about that, minor glitch. So yeah, we are talking about, and we want to all lead a stress-free life. We want to inspire others and be a role model as well, so that we want people to listen to us, right? And then the only way to do that is to be the change you want to see in the world. And there's no more effective way of aligning to these principles and bringing about that change that people could get inspired from as well. Okay. And we want to have the law of karma work in our favor. It is currently binding. We want it to be not only non-binding karma, but also uplifting karma. These are some of the reasons we looked at as to why we need to align to these principles. And definitely we want to evolve spiritually and get closer to the goal of life, which is realizing our true potential and also getting out of the cycle of birth and death. As you see this guy on your left bottom side, this is the cycle that we have been rotating in. And this is something we need to break out of. Now let's quickly look at the shloka. There are 4 principles in the shloka. Do your duty, but do not concern yourself with the results, which is the NATO principle, not attached to outcome. The second one is the fruits of action are not for your enjoyment. Third one is even while working, give up the pride of doership. We'll quickly revisit that. And today we are going to touch upon do not be attached to inaction. Okay, this is the one that we are going to touch upon today. We'll do a quick recap of the concepts. There are 2 kinds of actions. Type 1 action is done, which is done with mind and intellect. And type 2 action is something which is done with mind and intellect, but there is another dimension to it, which is attachment. So for any action, we definitely need mind and intellect because it is performed by our senses. Senses are controlled by our mind, and the governor of mind is intellect. We've spoken about this concept in great detail. But attachment makes all the difference. And that is what Lord Krishna is saying. Get rid of that attachment part and you will be able to perform much better. We looked at a lot of examples to drive home this concept, why we can perform much better when we leave aside the attachment part of it, right? We looked at the example of a surgeon. We looked at an example of a teacher. We looked at the example of some sports people, high endurance sports, how when they focus on the process, not so much on the outcome, they are able to really perform to their potential and even exceed it. Okay. That was the first principle. Second was that the fruits of your actions are not for your enjoyment. We looked at this analogy of hand and stomach. The hand, the duty of hand is in serving the stomach. So the constitutional position of a part is to serve the whole. And when it serves the whole, it automatically gets the nourishment that it needs. If hand thinks I'm going to sever or cut myself off from the stomach, enough of feeding the stomach, then hand cannot survive on its own. Similarly, we are fragmental parts of God. And as being our constitutional position is to serve the whole, which is God himself. So he is the supreme enjoyer. When we start enjoying or having a mindset of enjoying it for self, that is when the binding karma happens. It's a very important concept. And we also spoke about now, if that happens, yes, Sandhya, you had a question?
I am receiving message from couple of people that they can't see the screen. However, I can, so I don't know what's the
You're not able to see the screen?
Like
Shouldn't
two
it?
people messaged. I don't know. Okay, I think it,
I'm stopping share and again sharing it. It shouldn't be the case, because if that is the case, then it should be for everyone, right?
yeah, I
Are you
think it's fine. Many of them are now saying they can see, so it should be okay.
okay? All right.
Yep.
Hopefully you're able to see now. So second one was the fruits of your actions are not for your enjoyment. Now let's move on to the third one that we have spoken about. Even while working, give up the pride of doership. We spoke about this concept as well. It's because it's like tongs picking up something in the kitchen. The source of tongs, if tong thinks I'm doing it, it's actually not doing it. It's actually hand that is doing it. If you go technically further, it's not even hand. It is actually your mind which is directing the hand. If you go even further, who's energizing your mind? The soul is energizing your mind. And if you go even further, who's energizing the soul? It is the super soul that is energizing it, right? So the sense of doership, we have to really think this way. A devotee would think it this way. If something good gets done through us, then we express gratitude to God, say thank you, God, for choosing me as an instrument to get it done. And if something wrong happens through our hands, we take accountability for it. Right? The concept of looking at the window, when something good happens, we say, God, thank you, express that gratitude, and look at the mirror when something bad happens. That, okay, it's because of my imperfections, because I did not align to your will, or it's because of my imperfections, I could not do it. We take accountability for that. And the fourth one is what we are going to talk about. Now, inaction is the aspect that God is touching upon in this one, right? This is going to again challenge one of the misconceptions related to Bhagavad Gita, that people will become fatalist, or it will take people to sannyas, or it will result in inaction. Okay, so this is something we are going to tackle today. It's a very important concept to understand in perspective. And people think that if you start becoming spiritual, you will become a Baba. Right? You will start resorting to inaction, you will lose interest and all that stuff, right? So let's look at what God is talking about in action here. So the question that we are going to tackle here is that if we hit a boat, if we run across these kind of scenarios in life, right? When we find our work boring and we keep on postponing it, hitting the snooze button. Happens to me all the times. That sleep that you get after hitting the snooze, that's the best sleep you get, right? Especially when 5 more minutes kind of a deal. So in action, some people, they find the world too troublesome and resorting to escapism. They give this threat that, well, if you trouble me too much, I'm going to go to Vrindavan and sit there. So people think, that guy might lose interest in us and he'll go to some kind of an ashram and we may lose him, right? People use that as a threat as well. It is called escapism. Okay, we'll get into that concept. Krishna is saying it is called escapism. It's not something that you have truly progressing in spirituality. Want to run away from responsibilities, right? World is too troublesome. Who's going to take care of family and all the family troubles that come along with it? So I'm going to run away. Okay, and go run away and go to an ashram, and that is what spirituality is all about. Okay, so that is another misconception that people have. So that is something we need to challenge. Sorry. So wanting to run away from responsibilities is also something that is not something that is endorsed in this particular shloka, okay, from a spiritual standpoint. And the fourth one, if you look at it, is finding the work cumbersome. Right? Sometimes we find that how boring the work is, or I wish I was doing something else. This is not the right profession for me, and simply finding an excuse not to do what you are supposed to do, right, at any point in time. So this is another manifestation of inaction. So let's see what Lord Krishna has to say about it and get a little deeper into the shloka. He says, don't be attached to inaction. If you feel any of these following that we have looked at, right, any of these things, now God is saying, let's look at it technically, right? He's saying we should understand and implement the proper science of work. Okay? Becoming attached to inaction is never the solution, and it's condemned by Krishna, Sri Krishna. In Bhagavad Gita 3.5, he's saying, Nahi kaschit kshanamapi jatu tishthatya karma krit karyate hyavasha karma sarva prakritir jair gune. We're saying that there's nobody who can remain without action. For us, action means when we are performing something, with our senses, with our hand, or that is considered as an action, not necessarily. Even a thought that you put in is considered an action, right? So and then God also goes on to say that when he's saying karma sarva prakritir jair, that means we are compelled to act every moment based on our gunas. So if you have predominantly a tamas good, you will be having slothfulness, tardiness, sleepiness, procrastination, hitting snooze time and again. So these are some of the qualities that manifest based on the predominant guna that we have. It's an interplay of guna, right? We spoke about those three wrestlers. So this is what Lord Krishna is saying, that nobody can remain without action even for a moment. Let's go deeper and understand this concept. So for us, action means when we are in wakeful state and we are performing some deed, right? For example, if we are hitting somebody, it is considered violence. Now, Lord Krishna says even a thought, if you energize that thought of harming somebody, it is logged as an action or a karma. Okay. Let's go a little deeper. Look at the gunas aspect of it, what Lord Krishna is talking about. So all these activities that we do, right? Action is not limited to the professional work and not to daily activities such as eating, drinking, sleeping, waking, thinking. So when they think they have, given up their profession, they are not performing actions. So retired life doesn't mean that you are not performing any action. All these things, it goes much beyond that. The activities which are performed with body, mind, and tongue are considered as actions. Okay. Tongue is considered as, one of the very lethal weapons people have. It's only through words you can hurt people, and that is also considered some kind of a hinsa, if you can using your tongue to hurt somebody. So he's saying that, Arjun, that complete inactivity is impossible even for a moment. If we sit down, it's an activity. If we lie down, it's an activity. If we fall asleep, the mind is still engaged in dreaming. Even in deep sleep, the heart and other bodily organs are functioning. So it is all action, and not even for a moment somebody is without any action, is what Lord Krishna is saying. So let's broaden our definition of that action itself. And then he goes on to say that this body, mind, intellect mechanism, right? It is propelled by three gunas. And let's look at these three gunas, revisit that. These three gunas, interplay of these three gunas is actually enabling us to perform work in this world. If we are in a mode of goodness, we perform charitable work, doing noble deeds, having uplifting thoughts, helping out people, having good thoughts. If we are in Rajas mode, it's like, let's do it, enjoy, action-oriented, mode of passion, it dominates. And when we are in Tamas good, we do not have any uplifting thoughts. It could be intoxication, it could be slothness, it could be dullness, it could be hatred, envy, bitterness. All those things are done in the mode of ignorance. So let's look at this nature a little more today. That results in all these actions. Three modes of material nature, we know that: Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas. Sattva is the mode of goodness, mode of passion, and mode of ignorance. Let's look at it from a yogic standpoint. We are currently in Kali Yuga, right? And then there are Chatur Yugs. So in Satyug, there is only mode of goodness. Okay, there is only mode of goodness in Satyug. However, in Treta, Dwapar, and Kali Yuga, you have all three. It's an interplay of all the three gunas in the remaining yugas. And we are in Kali Yuga. We know, we have an interplay of all the gunas that is happening. However, the proportion keeps on varying. The proportion of gunas in each of these yugas, it keeps on varying. So let's look at that as well, just to understand why we do certain things and why our mind plays. Now, in Satyug, it is 100% light, Sattva only. Everything is light and high vibration. Okay, that is why if you are born in Satyug, achieving God becomes increasingly difficult. Why? Because the competition is high. Now you're in Harvard and not in a, okay kind of a college where the higher the threat, the greater the opportunity, right? Because we are in Kali Yuga. In Satyug, because the bar is very high, it is even more difficult to achieve God in any of those yugas. Okay. high level of austerities, penances, and that is why the Yuga Dharma for Kali Yuga is called just Harinam Sankirtan. So Satyug has Sattva Gun only. Let's understand that. In Treta Yuga, it's 75-25. 75% light, 25% darkness. Some lower vibration energy is introduced. As we saw in Treta, some of the Leelas that happened, some lower energies were there when Rama Avatar took place. In Dwapar, 50-50. Much more worsening of lightness happened. Light is more covered. War, power, greed, it had already started when Krishna Avatar took place. And Kali Yuga, let's look at it. It's 25% light. It's inverted basically from Treta. So there's a huge focus on material world over the spirit world, disease, war, evil. That is how our scriptures define each one of these yugas. Right? There was an interesting, I think maybe a WhatsApp forward or something that I'd seen that it explained, like in Treta, if you look at it, the distance between good and evil has been shrinking. Right? It used to be a different country. Now in Satyug, it used to be different planets, right? Danav and Asurs. And they would reside in different planets. Then came Treta, it became a different country. Sri Lanka and India, probably Lanka, right? So the distance has shrunk. And then in Dwapar, it became a family. The distance has shrunk even further, Kaurav Pandavas. And in Kali Yuga, it is said both reside within us only. So depending upon which aspect you keep on feeding, either you are feeding the light or you are feeding the darkness. So if God were to eliminate evil in Kali Yuga, he would have to eliminate all of us. Okay, because we have that inside us. Right? It will eventually happen when this 25% light will also go away. The delicate balance of this world is restored. This planet is restored because there is still Harinam, and enough of it to maintain that balance. Towards the end of Kali Yuga, that will also start getting wiped away, and it's not a cool time to get born in. Okay, it is said that at the end of the Kali Yuga, the sun will start beating 10 times more hotter. The food production, the fertile land will cease to exist. People will start going underground because it is so hot. Cannibalism will be promoted. People will start becoming grandparents at the age of 20 and those kind of things. But anyway, it's not a chapter to freak us out. So this is the a quick recap of basically the interplay of gunas that happens in different yugas, like Dwapar, Kali Yuga, and all that stuff. Okay. Now the question here is, all the activities that we are talking about here, if you are in a sattva mode, you will be attracted to these kind of things. I've just picked up a food example. It could be any other example, just to illustrate the point. Right? Something which is fresh, nourishing, healthy for your body. If you're in rajas, you will go for spicy stuff, something really enjoyable at that point. And if you're in tamas, you will go for intoxication, which results in agitation and despair in long run. The important point here to understand is what I would like to eat is dictated by my gunas, that predominant guna at that point in time. Okay, you'll have a tendency based on your gunas. Source of energy to lift and eat food is given by God. It's coming through soul. So what you like to eat, let's understand it systematically, is determined by your guna. The energy to lift and eat it is provided by soul, and energy of soul is provided by super soul. Okay. What I end up eating is your free will. Just because your guna is telling you doesn't mean you have to do that. You can override it through your free will. Free will is a symptom of your soul. And the baggage of sanskar is carried by soul. So if you look at it, this is the doer and this is the bearer. Okay, the soul. That is how this whole cycle unfolds. Right, let's move on. Now, Bhagavad Gita is teaching us to shun inaction. So all these activities that we spoke about, what Lord Krishna is saying, no, nothing doing. If you do that, you are going further away from spirituality. Inaction is not an option. If you keep on procrastinating, if you are resorting to escapism in life, shunning responsibilities, running away from your work, this is it is not recommended, but it is condemned by Lord Krishna. So it is a call to action. Right? Arjuna is saying the same to Lord Krishna. Right? He said, if the ultimate aim of life is to evolve spiritually, why should not I go to forest and become a sannyasi? Lord Krishna is saying, no, you have to do the needful at this point, because your gunas will drive you. Even if you go to forest, you will find a few tribal men, form a small army and start fighting wars in the forest itself, because your gunas is something that will compel you or drive you. And it's better to act in accordance with your gunas and do the needful based on the station of life that you're in, as opposed to running away from it or trying to copy somebody else. That is essentially the message from this particular shloka. And do it in the proper consciousness, where we are focusing on the process, not thinking about the outcome. We are not having a sense of doership, and we are offering the results, the fruit of our actions to God, not just for your own self, where you're thinking, I am the enjoyer. So if I can earn more so that I can give more, it's not that I earn more so that I can enjoy more. Right? That tweaking in mindset is what Lord Krishna is asking for, and that will lead to more stress-free life. In fact, it will eliminate the stress completely. Why do we stress out? Because we are so hung up on the outcome. Our happiness is tied to that, without realizing that this is something which is beyond the circle of our control. Any questions so far on this? So we will put it all together. I know we have done it in one at a time, incrementally, all the 4 principles. Tomorrow we'll put it all together and go a little more deeper in philosophy to, taking a holistic picture at the shloka. And then we will devote a couple of sessions on the practical tools of how to apply Karam Yoga in certain situations. How can we start imbibing it in our day-to-day lives? Because we have spoken, right? The arithmetic of Karam Yoga, if you apply it, it increases your devotion time 3x, because 8 hours is something that we spend at our work on a day-to-day basis, plus dealing with people, relationships, and other things. If we can perfect or start imbibing this science in our day-to-day life, we can make every work devotional and not secular at that point. So it's important not only to understand the theory, but also delve a little deeper into some of the tools that we can apply in certain situations, so that we start mindfully practicing this concept. All right, any questions? I know we still have a bit of a time. Yeah, we do have time. I tried to cover it pretty fast today. Any question? We can take some questions, and then I had a little bit of a discussion topic today around this as well. Yes, Kumarji, please go ahead.
Kumarji, Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe, can you share the previous slide? So just want to know that this is exactly how I was feeling yesterday. Not feeling like doing anything at all, and trying to shun action. Of course, I was doing some action, obviously, but thanks again for the session. I feel much better today, and then feeling much better during the session as well. Thank you, Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe, thank you. It reminds me of one of our former prime ministers, Mr. Manmohan Singh. I'm not taking sides or anything. One of the statements that he gave, that was pretty interesting. He said, not taking a decision is also a decision. Sometimes we don't take a decision and the problem gets solved by itself, which is fine. That might be a strategy. But the general recommendation from Krishna is, don't wish away things. Propel yourself into action. If you're just procrastinating stuff, and if you're running away from your duties and using spirituality as an excuse, it could be really detrimental to your journey. Don't use spirituality as an excuse to run away from your duties, which people conveniently use. I've seen people who threaten also their family members. If you're going to trouble me, I'll go and sit in the ashram. I mean, it's not a straightforward thing, right, to do that. So that is the key thing. Running away is not it's a call. Bhagavad Gita is a call to action. It's not something which should be used as an excuse for inaction. Okay, and that is essentially what Lord Krishna is telling Arjuna as well. Yes, Sandhya, you had a question as well?
Actually, Akshata ji has asked for sharing the previous slide.
The previous one? Okay, sure. This one?
I guess so. Akshata ji, you can raise your hand and probably, I don't know. Running away from arguments. Ashutosh ji has also sent a message. What about running away from arguments? Is that choosing inaction? I guess that's what he's asking.
No, running away, I mean, it could be protecting your sadhana as well, right? There is no statement, no viewpoint, nothing in this world which does not have a counter statement, counter viewpoint, right? So how far you want to take it? That's not the idea. Lord Krishna is not saying that win every argument that comes your way, right? And a bad day for ego could be a good day for the soul. So we have to look at the big picture. Okay. It really depends. Is that worth battle picking up? You know, is it a battle worth picking up at all or not? Yes, Champaji, I'm seeing her hand after a long time. Champaji, good to see you.
Radhe Radhe, can you hear me?
Radhe Radhe, yes, Champaji, can hear you.
Yeah. Excellent class as always. This is in a lighter vein, Nitinji. We don't have to scare our family saying that we'll go to the ashram. We have already gone into the JK Yoga ashram. The whole day we are so immersed, either with Swamiji's centenary or this thing. I literally feel I'm in the ashram only, JK Yoga ashram. And the people at home also, they know, and we are not troubling them, they are not troubling. This is the most ideal thing to do. You are at home, but your mind is in ashram, JK Yoga ashram.
No, this is, I would say it's a good problem to have actually. If previously we had to go all the way to Badrinath and all for Tirath, now the Ganges is flowing at the comforts of our home.
Yes, that's what I meant. We
part of it,
have everything at at our doorstep.
Yes, and I would thank part of it to COVID actually. This is one of the silver lining, despite all the tragic things that happened around the world. It actually got the world much closer. Right? It is saying that when you could not go outside, start going inside. And this it picked up during the COVID signs, and here we are these days. But yeah, you are very, very rightly said, Champaji. I mean, it has been a blessing for sure. The fact that we can do this satsang every day and Gyan Yagya.
Thank you very much for all the beautiful lessons you are giving us. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It's always a pleasure to hear you, Champaji, and good to hear you after such a long time. All right. So with that, anybody had any other questions? I had a couple of questions I wanted to pose. Do we have time?
We have Akshitaji. Akshitaji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
Hello. The slide which shows that Kali Yuga, what is the share was that? 20%, 30%, something like that.
Akshitaji, your voice is trailing off. Can you?
She wants to see the Yuga slide.
Yuga slide.
Yuga slide.
Oh, Yuga, this one?
I guess.
Yeah, yes.
We are in a Yuga which doesn't look very encouraging, but then the higher the threat, the greater the opportunity. So in that sense, God has made it very simple. He said, just do Harinams and Kirtan. It's a Yuga dharma for us. And I shall be pleased and I can easily achieve me. That is how simple he has made it for us in Kali Yuga. And of course, it comes with its own set of imperfections that we have to deal with. So, okay, so now let's give it to Urvi. If nothing, quick question I wanted to have before I hand it over to Urvi for her presentation is doing Seva Karam Yoga. Anybody wants to take that question? Let's pick up the first one. Second one we can discuss later. It would require a longer discussion. Is doing Seva means doing Karam Yoga? I'll spend probably 5 minutes on that and then I'll give it to you, Urvi. I'm waiting with bated breath for your presentation, so not more than 5 minutes.
Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
Yeah.
Radhe. I think doing Seva is Bhakti Yoga. I think Karma Yoga is more related to the materialistic tasks that we do, doing them with detachment. And Seva is a spiritual pursuit. So that's why I feel it's Bhakti Yoga.
Okay, all right, fair enough. Anybody else? Real quick.
Kumarji,
Yeah, Radhe Radhe. Doing Seva with nothing in, not expecting nothing in return, then it becomes Karma Yoga.
That is called Nishkam Seva. Yeah, true. Okay. Yes, Sandhya, you wanted to add something?
Yeah, regarding this question, yeah, it's the consciousness. If we are doing seva to serve God without having the pride of doership, like basically following the all four principles of Karma, then it is Karma. And there is a question from Priya ji. Can I just quickly ask
Sure,
that?
real quick.
What is the 13-second rule where thought turns to karma? Why 13 seconds? And how does luck affect karma? How is it created? Not one question, but yeah.
That's it. One question. Okay, 13, forget about 13. Maybe it's a 13.5 or 13.9. I don't know. The point here being that the thoughts will come. But when you have decided to serve that thought, energize that thought, and chosen to dwell upon it, then it becomes karma, right? A thought may come of harming somebody, negative thought. You can just shun it immediately with mindfulness, or you may choose to continue harboring that thought. And if you persist with, then that means you have energized it consciously. Then it becomes karma, right? And what was the second one?
Luck. How does luck?
I don't know what is luck basically. Maybe it's a part of your prarabdha that you get, right? Somebody hits the lottery. They were supposed to get certain wealth in this life. That might be called as a luck, but actually truly it is prarabdha. And somebody experiences unprecedented loss in life. That is, you would call bad luck. I would say it was probably part of your prarabdha, right? So Jan, Mrityu, Labh, Hani, Yash, Apyash. These 5 or 6 things are controlled by God. How much material wealth you'll end up acquiring in a particular life is already preordained. Yes, your karam do have a play in it, but to a larger at a macro level, it's kind of a deal. That's why some people, without doing anything, they become billionaires, and some people, they work hard throughout their lives, but they're not able to. So few things are controlled by our prarabdha. And luck is probably, we think it's luck, but there is a role of prarabdha in that as well. Okay, yes. So coming back to that, Urvi, you wanted to add that, or we can go to the presentation now? I'll answer that question as well. You good for the presentation? You are satisfied with Sandhya's answer?
Yes.
Yes. So seva, yes, it's bhakti. It's done in the spirit of devotion. However, just because you are doing seva may not be karma yoga. Really depends on your consciousness. If you're having a sense of doership, if you're attached to the results, all those things, then you might be violating a principle of bhakti yoga. And in fact, if your consciousness is not right, even though it may seem like a devotional work, it could be counterproductive for you as well. So it's an internal game more than an external game. Okay, so let's understand that. And when we have one mind, maybe I'm going to post it as a question in our portal thread to take it further. Without much ado, I want to look at the presentation that one of our youngest participants, devotee, has prepared. So I'm looking forward to that. So over to you, Urvi, for the next segment. I'm going to stop share now.
Okay, Radhe Radhe. Sir, am I audible clearly?
You are very audible, Urvi.
Okay, sir, share my screen just to.
You are extremely audible.
And is my screen visible now?
Yes. Your screen is also extremely visible now.
Okay. Why is it?
Wow. That. Loved it.
Okay, so this is a Leela presentation, and Maharaji has written it in the Premras Madira. This is from the Holy Madhuri. Yah hori hai, ari ya hora hai. So what happens is, a Sakhi, she has been recently married in Braj, and now she thought that the Holi of Braj, it is so irritating, and the way they're playing it, they've made the whole of Braj like a fish market, and Shyam Sundar, he has teased her. Now, so she's complaining to her Sakhis. So she has been recently married, and she goes to one of her Sakhis and she says, "Oh Lord, is this the festival of Holi or a free for all? What is this?" So she's not liking the Holi of Braj. She's getting irritated. So she's complaining to her Sakhis. यह होरी है अरी, यह हो रहा है, यह होरी है. And then she says that it has become so difficult for me to step out of the house. What kind of a village is this? दूभर भयो घरहु ते निकरन, कैसो गाम निगोरा है, यह होरी है, हाँ यह होरी है अरी, यह हो रहा है, यह होरी है. And then she says that, you know, all of these boys in Braj, they are very naughty, but this Shyam Sundar, he has crossed all his limits. And it's not just that his body is dark, also his mind is dark. And then when we go and complain about him to his Maya, Maya says that, oh, my Lala is so innocent, and she insists that he's innocent and he's sweet. So the gopis, they are very irritated with this Kanhaiya, and then they say, तनु ही नहीं मन हूँ सखी कारो, मैया कह यह भूरा है, यह होरी है, हाँ यह होरी है अरी, यह हो रहा है, यह होरी है. And then she says that, Sakhi, I got married just yesterday, and today he grabbed me and he shook me violently. काली ही भयो ब्याहु मम आजू ही, पकड़ी मोही झकझोरा है, यह होरी है. So Sakhi said that, okay, Sakhi, if he grabbed you and he shook you, why are you making mountains out of molehills? It's a simple thing, it's okay, you can carry on. But she says that, no, Sakhi, I'm shy and I'm not telling you completely, but you listen to what he did to me in brief. He lifted the ghungat off my face, and if that was not enough, he tore the edge of my blouse. And then he asked me, what do you think of the pair of the two of us as a pair? So, घूंघट तारी भारी कंचुकी पट, कहा कहा कहु सखी कस जोरा है, यह होरी है. And then he also applied gulal to my cheeks and drenched me thoroughly in colored water with his pichkari. And you know, I was standing there dumbstruck, and he was doing all this to me. Nidharak gal gulal lal mali, पिचकारिन रंग बोरा है, यह होरी है. And then she says that he then cheekily added that, now what happened is, the Sakhi says that I was standing there just like a dumbstruck, and I did not know what to do. And now my husband, the Gujjar, he speaks with his lathi only, and I got worried that now what to do. If I return home like this, he'll, you know, hit me and scold me. The Shyam Sundar understood this problem of the Sakhi, and then he cheekily added that, if your husband asks, who did this to you? Just answer, my beloved did this to me. Because the husband is the husband of the body, but I am the husband, the beloved of your soul, and I am your true beloved. So you can tell your fake husband that it was my beloved who did this to me. And then, so Shyam Sundar added, Punikah jo puche piya tero, kahiyo so piya mora hai, yah hori hai, haan yah hori hai ari, yah ho raha hai, yah hori hai. And then Kripaluji Maharaj, he came there and he said, oh, this Sakhi, she's, you know, back bitching about Shyam Sundar so much, but I know the secret. And then he told the Sakhi, why are you complaining so much and making false complaints for the sake of the world? I know perfectly well that he has stolen your heart. So Kripaluji Maharaj, at last he adds, Kaha Kripalu ham जानत नी के यह तेरो चित चोरा है, यह होरी है, हाँ यह होरी है, अरी या हो रहा है, यह होरी है. Thank you, Radhe Radhe.
Urvi, that is outstanding stuff. You know what? You don't make us, you're not basically, if anybody can do it, but Maharajji, the way he recites, it's amazing, basically. You know, you've done full justice to it. And I mean, I fall short of words. I would let people talk about it more. See, we were talking about God, right? The concept of God itself. God is known as what is called Anor Anyan Mahato Mahan. But when he comes in the 6 foot or 3 foot or 4 feet form, right, as a kid and as an adult, and does things that we humans do in our own limited capacity, then it becomes special. Now, if he's killing demons, that's not a big deal. If he's lifting mountains, that's not a big deal. But when he's trying to steal hearts of gopis with the tattva gyan that you're talking about, right? It's not a relationship of a, you know, a lumped guy or a lover chasing a girl. It's much deeper. He's actually the pati of your pati as well, because that relationship is at a soul level. And that is what they are telling gopis who have gained eligibility for that kind of a love from God. Very beautifully recited, Urvi. I don't know how much practice you have put in that, because Maharajji sings it so nicely, these leelas. And I don't think anybody can do justice to it just like that, unless they have grace from Maharajji, and unless they have put in a lot of hard work. That probably you have done as well. Very nicely. It is our good fortune to hear it, basically. I mean, just listening to these leelas itself is so therapeutic and uplifting, I must say. Let's hear from participants as well. They have raised their hand as well. Let's hear from them, and I'm sure you will have a good explanation to do. How do you do it so well?
Yeah, she is little spellbound, speechless. No words will do justice to my. That's for sure. And it is truly Krishna's grace on her. At such a tender age, she has what all is needed to be a true bhakt. God bless her always. Sandhya ji, please go ahead. Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe. Oh my God, Urvi, this was just nirvachniya, literally. Like as Shyamji said, I mean, the choice of the Leela and the way you presented it, the way you sang, those little things, right? The fake husband and true husband of the soul, and the way you were talking about Lat and how mischievous activities of Krishna, like he was saying, just say it was your beloved. I mean, it was so beautiful. I just loved each and every line that you were saying so beautifully. Thank you so much. Thanks a lot. Yeah.
I just wanted to add that I've just, tried to speak the same things which Maharaji added while he, explained this Leela to his satsangi. So all these things Maharaji only spoke that he's the fake husband and he's this and that. So it's just copy paste, copy paste.
Copy paste.
And I like copy pasting everything from Maharaji. I just love it.
Even the copy paste cannot happen without his grace, trust me. Okay. So the fact that it's not through providence alone that you are able to sing it like this. You have his blessings, and of course you have earned that blessing. So keep up the great work and continue expressing gratitude to him. It was super, super nice. Loved it. Let's hear from Manishi and others as well. I'm sure participants have more to add to it.
Manish ji, Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe, everyone.
Radhe Radhe, Manishi.
Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Okay. Yeah, Urvi, it was a wonderful presentation. Really a unique style that you have, and it's just so blissful. Just keep up the good work, and we look forward to hearing you again in the future. Thank you, Radhe Radhe.
Yes, and not sure if you caught up our junior duo, Sakhi duo's musical presentation during Maharajji's celebration on guitar. That was a wonderful, wonderful singing. Maybe I'll bring it to one of the sessions here. And I look forward to the presentation that you're going to have, Urvi, with Anubhuti. We really look forward to that presentation, okay? When you pick up guitar and all those percussion, It's pretty amazing. And Maharaj Ji must be smiling, I'm telling you, listening to the way you rendered this beautiful Leela. I can't imagine listening to it from anybody else other than Maharaj Ji. But when I was listening to you, you really made us spellbound. Yes, Pallavi Ji.
Radhe Radhe Nitin ji, Radhe Radhe. Urvi ji, congratulations to you. Such an spellbound presentation, such a beautifully description of Leela. I felt you took us to Bridge Bhumi and I was able to see everything happening in front of eyes, and especially the way you sang the dohas and then you showed it on slides. Amazing, amazing. It was really spellbound. So congratulations to you. Stay blessed. Great, great, great work. Very inspiring. Very inspiring.
Super inspiring.
I just wanted to add one more thing here, that this, when listening to a Leela, we enter that Vrinda, we, go to the Braj Bhumi and we start imagining ourselves over there. It's the magic in the bhajan written by Maharaji. I used to listen to many other bhajans, but when I started listening to Maharaji's bhajans, they're so intoxicating, you don't want to listen to anything else. So this is the speciality of Maharaji's writing skills and his music composition. So all of you can try his bhajans.
Yes, yes. And I'm sure, Urvi, you have inspired a lot of people to try it out, check it out, and immerse themselves in. There's nothing better to do Roop Dhyan than Maharajji's compositions. And you are a testimony to that. When you sing and you present, one can see the kind of, bhavs one can get into. So beautiful, beautiful. That much I can tell you. And our best wishes to you, Urvi. I'm glad you could present on these sessions, and words fall short of what to say basically. But yeah, keep up the good work, stay blessed, and our best wishes to you for everything that you plan to do from here on. Yes, Sandhya?
There are requests of having the recording of this, so
Of
I guess
course. So
if
by
we
the way,
can, put a clip on the community portal of her performance, it will be awesome. Right?
I'll do that. In fact, I'm going to extract your performance separately, not along with the other, okay? Because it deserves special. So we'll do that. Also, I want to let you know that Urvi is spearheading our community portal stuff as well. So if you are inspired looking at her, and if you want to encourage her more and all of us more, you need to respond to her calls. She is so meticulous in driving that, unbelievable. It's like just like somebody gets it and is able to run on their own. And I feel there's so much to learn from Urvi with regards to your work ethic, with regards to your attention to details, with regards to how much importance and sanctity you attach to seva work. So many good things to learn. So keep up all that stuff, Urvi. And I would strongly encourage, if you want to, Urvi, when she sends out posts, do participate. It's a good body of work that we can create through our sessions and do reflections on that. And Urvi has taken up that assignment all on her own. And I wonder, how she's driving it. Lot to learn from you, Urvi, from that sense, and keep up the great work on that as well. And by the way, daily tracker. No prizes for guessing whose brainchild it is. Somebody who won this last week, who were the winners? It was our junior Sakhi duo, and she came up with that idea. And that's a great resource again to put things to practice. If you have been postponing, working on certain things, now is the time. If you are looking at giving up something, you can avail that tracker. Just take a look at it. It's very, very practical resource, and declare a war on things that you really want to work on. And thank you again, Urvi, for sharing that resource and encouraging all of us, inspiring all of us to start making a difference around that. So check it out. It's there on the portal. She will keep sending you reminders. You can be rest assured around that, and do start availing that tool if you are really serious about making a difference, on a day-to-day basis. So great. I can see one more hand. Let's quickly take that before we transition to our next. I think we have 5 more minutes, so we are good.
Viduji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
Yes, please.
Radhe Radhe. Outstanding presentation, Urvi. And I want to show gratitude on Maharaj's 100th birthday anniversary. You reminded me of Maharaj's divine holy Leelas of 2004, where, you know, for 10 days we had different kind of holy. And the way you were singing, I felt, you know, I was in Mangad, you know. I said, looks like, you know, she has been to Mangad or she's an old devotee. I don't know. Have you been to the Mangad or no? No, you are an old devotee, you know, like Nitinji was saying, you know, without his grace, it's not possible. So, you know, you have the grace, and such a beautiful session, you know, Nitinji is conducting, and all the devotees, you know, just keep it up. You know, I'm very, very happy on this. It's lovely, outstanding. I felt, you know, I was doing Holy Leela there at that time, the way you were singing, like someone, Mangad Vasi was singing.
That is the highest compliment you can get, Urvi. That, you know, it seemed like a holy in Mangad. Minuji is attesting for that. And the secret is out now. It's no longer a secret that you are a reborn devotee now. Okay, we all know it for a fact now.
Yeah.
A lot of people in this group are, I know for a fact, but yes, for you, it's definitely confirmed. Minuji, coming in from Minuji, you can just imagine it. It's the compliment of highest magnitude. Thank you, Minuji, for that.
Thank you all. Excellent.
I think we had Preeti ji as well. Maybe we can take one more hand and then we transition over to our next session in another 3 minutes, the book club session that is going to come up as well. So yes, Preeti ji, please.
I can't see a hand now. Maybe I can.
Yeah, Preeti ji, please go ahead. Okay.
She is not there, I guess.
Okay, maybe she. Any announcements you wanted to make? Ashutosh ji wanted to say something, and then you can make quick announcements and then we wrap it up.
Ashutosh ji? Radhe, yeah.
Radhe Ashutosh ji.
So nice presentation. Even I was not able to watch that, but I'm hearing, and took us to like Vrindavan only, and like Minuji said, means it's so famous. We should take inspiration from, and I think there is something in Rajasthan and also like in Vrindavan and like Payalji and Urviji. Like it put us me actually same sometimes. I'm doing nothing in respect to this, but they are doing great. Keep inspiring us, Urvi, and God bless you.
God bless you. Yes, Urvi, and you have a very wise head on these young shoulders, and wish you the very best. And we are all walking each other home, so keep inspiring us as well. So thank you, everybody. Make a quick announcements, Shyamji, if there are any, and otherwise I'll hand it over to Sunil Bhai and Ajay ji for the next session.
Just about the Swamiji's India tour, starting from October 13th, we have the Banara tour, then we have Puri tour from November 18th, and then we have again Banana tour from December 25th. There are 3 announcements as of now. Swamiji's tour India. That's
Great.
It from now.
All right.
And
so thank you, everybody.
Urvi said copy and paste. It's just the art of copy and paste, and without Maharaj's grace, that's not possible. So, if possible, please also teach us how to do this such small thing with such great grace. Let us know, because it's not an easy thing just to do copy and paste. We all do such same thing over and over again, but the way she has done it, it's really commendable. It's really God's grace on her that she's been doing such things so easily and being so humble at the same time.
Very true. Great. So with that, we come to the end of a very engaging, fascinating session that we had, and icing on the top was amazing presentation from Urvi. I look forward to seeing you all tomorrow. We'll do some tools around the Karam Yoga aspect of it and much more. With that, I'll hand it over to Sunil Bhai and Ajay ji and Radhe.
Thank you, Nitin Bhai. Thank you.